Hello everyone, Russ of Aquariumax here. I noticed we already have several people in the chat and so on, so I figured I'd just jump in and start. So hello the Pokesaurus. Who else is in here? Let's see. Well, that's all I'm seeing so far, but we've already got 6 people, which is great. That's awesome. How's that? Is that all right? I'm trying to find a good place for me to be. Miley and Nature Zone and Heather Jensen all here. Great. And more people adding all the time. Awesome. So how's it going, everyone? Asylum JK is in as well. Got a snake crawling down my back. I'm going to move him a little bit. Hopefully, let me know if he interferes with the microphone, because we don't really want him interfering with the microphone. Primetime Gecko, hello. There is some mic feedback. Okay, let's see if get him away from the microphone a little bit. See if that helps. Is that better? Okay. Led Orly, woo, hello. Greetings. I'm going to try something, everyone. Since you can see that when I first started doing live streams, you could not see the live chat and the replay. And so I would often read out everything people said. But I'm learning that can sometimes annoy people. And if I just respond to what people are saying, since you can see the chat whether it's the replay or not, I'm going to try that this time, see if I can get into the habit of doing that. And Rochelle, hello. Welcome. Wow, we got 17 people already. That was fast. Nice. So Nature Zone, how many extracurricular? Okay, trying to remember to respond directly, would not read it out loud. I have, I'll have to check. I know I have quite a few crickets, so probably enough if you just want to buy a couple dozen or something. I'm sure I have that many, but I don't know exactly how many. And welcome, Patricia. How do you say your last name? Chloropol, maybe? Good. Good. Glad the microphone is working well. Best in Natural Healing. Good to see you here. I'm really excited. There's all sorts of fun things going on. Kenneth, the desert beetles are doing well. The last time I checked, I didn't see any larvae. That doesn't mean there aren't any, because it is a 20-gallon, vivarium. So it may well be that there are some larvae in there that I'm just not seeing them yet. Not sure, but I'm hoping that there will be some. I did go and capture some Eleodes hispilabris, some very large beetles, desert beetles that I can catch just right near my house. 5-minute drive out to the canyon, and there are desert beetles all over the place. I can't find any blue death fainters there, but I can find these Eleodes desert stink beetles. I've got a couple of those, and they are crazy. They're so funny. They eat a lot of vegetation. They like to eat like fresh lettuce and stuff like that, but they will jump on each other. They don't seem to hurt each other, but they wrestle and everything, so those are kind of fun. Have those on my desk at work. Mr. Snake, hello. According to Bush, welcome. And, okay, I was close on Patricia's name. That's good. Primetime Gecko, what kind of feeder insects do you breed, if any? I breed several. Let's see. I'm going to start out with the small things and go up. I breed springtails, which technically are hexapods that aren't quite insects. According to most people, taxonomists say they're not quite insects, but I do breed those. I breed fruit flies, 2 species, Melanogaster and Hydei. Melanogaster, the smaller, and I breed the wingless variety of those, and then I breed the winged but flightless, larger Drosophila Hydei. I breed rice flower beetles. I breed mealworms, and I breed crickets. And as far as insects, or very insect-like creatures that I breed as feeders, I guess that's pretty much all I do. I do breed other inverts, of course. Some of them are feeders, like Daphnia and amphipods and so on, but those are not really insects. They're crustaceans, so I guess I don't include them in there. There you go. Hopefully that answers your question, Primetime Gecko. It is a great question. Toxicity. Am I reading that right? Toxicity. 26. Greetings, Dan. Nice to see you in the house. Rochelle, do you keep live mice or use frozen? I have only used frozen mice as snake food. I do also use reptilinks, which are whole animal prey based on rabbit and quail that are ground up. So they have all the organs and the bones and the feathers and the fur and all that kind of stuff in them, so they're healthy, unlike some of the kind of prepared snake foods that have been used in the past. So I do use those as well. And some eggs. Well, the reason why I'm not doing it, I'm going to just try it this time because everybody can see it, and I don't want to be too redundant. And I've heard people say that sometimes it's annoying if I just read the chat out completely out loud, but if I refer to your chat in some way that makes it make sense, then I'm going to see if that works. And Asylum JK is your stock list. Oh, okay, my stock list is mostly up to date. There's a couple of things on that aren't on there, I think, but mostly it is up to date. So I think the only thing, I might have a couple of isopods that are not on the stock list. I do have a couple of isopods that are not on the stock list that should be for sale, and I do have a couple on the list that are just breeding projects that need to be on the list that are just breeding projects as well. But as far as things that are ready to purchase, almost there. I have Opaiula shrimp are not on there. They should be, because those are breeding too. I need to get those on there. But other than that, pretty good. So you can go ahead and make a purchase, and if you have any questions about those things that I just mentioned, I can answer those for you. So, Miraculous Illustrator, greetings, nice to see you. And Miley says, don't know if it's because I'm wearing headphones, but I hear humming from the mic. Oh, okay. Yeah, is anybody else getting the humming? And Heather Jensen, this weekend. Yeah, that would be cool. I should be here this weekend. I think I'm going to be here every day this weekend. I'll be in and out, but you know what we could do is do a hold for pickup, if you don't mind. Do a hold for pickup at the post office, and I'll make sure I can get it. Because I realized I am going to be in and out on Saturday quite a bit, and on Friday. So yeah, maybe let's do a hold for pickup. That would be awesome. Something's wrong with the sound. Okay, let me troubleshoot a little bit. I'm going to take this little snake and I'm going to put him in my lap for a second. He doesn't mind. And I'm going to play with the microphone and see if that makes any difference. Hopefully it's not just something in the house going on. I do have birds chirping, and I've got the aquarium here with the water that needs to be topped off a little bit. So let's see. Constant buzzing sound. Okay, I'm going to try something. And here we go. What I'm going to do is shorten the cord. I'm going to take out my extension and see if that makes a difference. So sorry everybody, the audio is going to cut out for a second. Holy cow, what just happened? Okay. Okay, let's try this. No, not. Yeah. Ready? Okay, let me know if that sounds any better. Okay, I'm really hoping that works. So let me know how that looks. So let's see, Miraculous Illustrator. Oh, nice! I like it. That is a cool name for a blue crown-tail betta. That's a good choice too. And yes, and Dan, I did recognize that. That's coming soon. And unfortunately, I can't deliver overseas. I wish I could, but there are too many technicalities that get in the way. It gets ridiculous to try to do that, so I don't do that. I wish I could, though. Thanks for asking, Katie. And Casey, thank you. I'm glad you like our snake. He is a beauty, I think so. Hypomelanistic corn snake, as far as we've been able to tell. When I bought him, it was an adoption from someone who could no longer care for him, and they didn't know what morph it was, so there we go. And let's see. So lots of people are hearing the hum. Hopefully it's dying down. And do I stir my infusory culture daily? VB, I don't, unless there's a scum that forms all the way over the top, and then I stir it. But if not, I don't bother stirring it every day. And hello, Crystal, best in natural healing. Thank you. Okay, we're getting less buzzing. Okay, I'm not sure what the buzzing is. I'll try to figure it out, but we'll keep going. And thank you, Casey, and thank you everyone who answered. Yeah, it might be some sort of artifact going on. It might be the fact that I'm charging it. I don't know if that is going to be the issue though. I'm charging the iPad because when I got home, it was like 23%, and I knew it wasn't going to last through the live stream, so maybe that's it. I don't know. Should I try unplugging that and see if that makes a difference? Here. Does that make a difference? Here, I just unplugged it from charging, see if it makes any difference. Okay. And let's see. Mr. Snake is saving up to buy a female pastel puma ball python. Wow. $1,000. Yeah, I'm gonna have to save up for sure. Yeah. And yep, he is getting big. 157 grams at the last time I measured him. You can see he's putting on some girth. He's getting big. He really likes to eat. It's his eating day. Okay. So it looks like the charging cable, taking the charging cable out, helped with the audio. So what I'll probably do is, here, just a second. I have to fiddle with stuff. Sorry, a lot of fiddling. I'm going to put the cord down and just leave it off for now. And if it starts to die, I will plug it back in. But for now, hopefully we'll be okay because it's been charging for a little while. And Soklisa Springer, that is awesome. Congratulations on your isopod babies. And I bet, Mr. Snake, you get some nice pastel ivory with your puma and see what you get with those baby ball pythons. That's awesome. So Heather Jensen, let's see, feather millipedes, huh? You know what? I only have very limited experience with feather millipedes, so I'm not sure exactly. I wish I could give you better information. I don't really know a whole lot about them. So it looks like it stopped for most of you. The sound decreased, but it's not gone for everybody. And Julia with wheel bugs, huh? I have never kept wheel bugs. I am fascinated by the idea of assassin bugs, but I have never kept any. So wheel bugs are a type of assassin bug for those of you who may not know. But I don't have any experience with them, but I would like to keep those, I think, at some point. I know that they can give a nasty bite, but they're not exactly medically significant, so. Blake, hello, welcome. And Miley, I'm sorry to hear about your beta Ico. That's so sad. Betas are so short-lived. I love them, but they are short-lived. That's the problem. And you're still getting the buzz, Jay, huh? That's weird. I wonder why. Yeah, Kenneth, they scare me a little bit, the assassin bugs too. I want to keep them sometime, but you know, people have said that they will spray you in the face with their venom, which is scary. Excuse me. And Alexandra, oh, you're welcome. I'm glad that I have instilled a love of isopods in you, and I don't have any of the kois right now. I kind of do like the kois. I've seen like the orange kois and stuff. They look pretty cool, but I don't have any. I probably should get into those at some point. Yeah, that makes sense. It's there's like the big 3 assassin bugs that are the most popular to buy online, like the Horrid Kings and the other 2. What is it? The orange spot and I can't remember. Orange spot and yellow spot. Is that it? And those seem to be the ones you read most about. And Crystal's Pets and Plants. Oh, jumping spider. I have 2 right now. I have 2 Phidippus audax, a male and a female, a really small male, and then a moderately sized female. The moderately sized female was discovered by my son in our bedroom about, I don't know, a month ago. And I think they're great. They're really fun spiders. Sometime I would like to get into maybe some of the other Phidippus species like Phidippus regius or even the Hyalus dardi, the really big ones. They are super cool. The one that I got, the female that we caught, is one of the ones. She's a little bolder than some of the others. She's not as shy, which I like. She has a really big appetite. I've been using her for bug presentations. Well, lots of other bugs, of course, but I've been doing bug presentations for a youth camp at the university nearby, and they love it. They love the jumping spider. So Heather, okay, yeah, you'll probably get a lot of extra of the feather millipedes, hopefully. I think they're really cool. They're very otherworldly. They're very cool. I hope they do well for you. And Miley. So your bed is starting to get spoiled for millipedes. I mean, not millipedes, for worms, huh? That's pretty cool. Yeah, I love how bettas are so full of personality. I love to give mine Daphnia, and they totally go nuts over that when I have bettas. I don't have any currently, but I've had many bettas over the years. I love that. And yeah, that's true. The feather millipedes, I can see a certain resemblance. Yeah. And I do like the featheriness they have. It's just really bizarre. Especially when you get some nice macro video going on with them. That is the coolest thing ever. So, anybody else getting buzzing still? There is our evaporative cooler running. It just stopped. That's another thing, Miley, that bettas have so much personality in terms of what they like and what they don't like. I've had bettas and seen bettas that will absolutely just massacre snails, and bettas which will completely ignore snails, for example. So it's interesting how that works. Bettas that will flare at the slightest provocation, and bettas that can hardly be induced to flare at all. So best in natural healing. Do Cubaris isopods require similar culture to Porcellia and Armadillidium? I would say most of the Cubaris that from my research that I've done, are not well, they need more humidity and less ventilation than like the Spanish Porcellia or most of the Armadillidium, from what I understand. So I think that tends to be the case. I haven't got a lot of experience with Cubaris species, but that's what I understand. Okay, so Jay's still getting the sound off, and it's better after he restarted. Okay. Oh, Casey, sorry, I didn't mean to skip you. There's a lot of these chats coming in. Sometimes I miss one. I'm not seeing where it is. What did you say? Is it bad sound or no, we love you anyway? Is that the one? I thought I already read that. Maybe I didn't, but I really appreciate it. I'm glad you do. Glad everybody's watching anyway. This has been a pretty good, a lot of attendance to the live stream pretty fast. I like that. Got a lot of people pretty quickly, and everybody's staying. Well, most people are staying, which is pretty exciting. So, okay, so Miley is asking about breeding dairy cows and zebra isopods. As far as I understand it, it can't be done because they are two different. They're two different genera. There's dairy cows are Porcellia laevis, and then zebra isopods are Armadillidium maculatum. So they're not closely related. Not closely related enough to be able to interbreed. However, there is a Dalmatian variety of zebra isopods, so you could get a similar effect just by getting the Dalmatian variety of the zebra isopods, which they look pretty cool. Although, honestly, I think they're cool, I like the normal varieties myself. I do have a couple of zebras that are showing up that are high white. In other words, they have a zebra pattern, but they're more white than black rather than more black than white. So I might actually isolate some of those because I've seen at least two of them. I might isolate some of those and see if I can get those to breed true and have high whites. I just haven't gotten around to isolating them, but they look cool. And Casey, what's the best isopod for closed jar terrariums? I would go with something like, and depending on the size, I'd probably go with one of the really small dwarfs, like the Tarragonas or the dwarf whites or the dwarf purples, something like that doesn't need a lot of ventilation. It also depends on the size of the closed jar terrarium. If it's really big, you might be able to look at some other options, but those are probably the ones that I would go with. Or maybe even some of those picopods. I haven't played with those, but that would be an interesting thing to think about. So I do sell some of those. I am pretty low on most of my dwarfs right now because they sell like crazy. But I do have some Tarragonas available. And if you just want a really small amount to get started, I could do probably some dwarf whites. But since I sell them in lots of 25 and I just need to let them breed for a while because I just sold some. And honestly, they breed like crazy, especially in the summer, and produce hundreds and hundreds, but I can't keep up with them because so many people want to buy them. I need to set up like a huge enclosure just to breed dwarf whites and dwarf purples because they're popular And they're not difficult to breed. They breed fast, but I just sell so many of them. So yeah, that's what I would say. For a high humidity, no ventilation situation, I would try some of those. I don't add ventilation to my enclosures. There is some incidental ventilation because I use the 6-quart Sterilite tubs for the dwarf whites and the dwarf purples. I don't add any more, and so there is some because the lids are not airtight, but I don't add any, and they do fine with that. So I think they'd probably be okay, and especially if you just put in, depending on the size, put in like 5 dwarf whites. Since they're parthenogenic, you don't need to worry about inbreeding or anything, and you could get tons of them. They would, tend to reach the carrying capacity of the ecosystem, but you wouldn't have to worry about overcrowding if you started out with 5, because they would breed, but they wouldn't, overpopulate the container necessarily. So that's what I would say. All right. Ooh, I caught up with the chat. Pretty nice. So, does anybody have suggestions for the 20,000 subscriber video? I'm still collecting suggestions, trying to figure out what to do for that. I want to do something cool, maybe something I haven't done yet. So if you have suggestions, let me know. So Heather Jensen. Oh, I remember you were talking about that tiki millipede tank for your Thai rainbows. Yeah, and the feather peds. Oh, cool. You bought a shingling plant. I love those. It doesn't matter what kind it is. Just the fact that they do that shingle growth is the coolest thing. Okay. Do you think you can do multis? Jay's Crazy Obsessions. Placos, multis, and platies in a 55. Okay. Here's my... maybe, but this is what I think. If you could probably do platies in with the multis, probably not a huge deal in a 55, especially if you localize the shell bed, and that's what I would do, honestly. I would localize the shell bed and say, like, this third of the tank, I'm putting all the shells in here and I'm not putting any shells anywhere else. You could probably get away with the platies. With the placos, if you have plenty of cover away from the shells, you might do it, but the multis are probably going to chase the placos away from their shell bed. So again, you might be okay as long as you just localize that shell bed. Don't let the multis overtake the whole tank. They're not going to claim territories if they don't have places to hide. So just localize those shells to a third of the tank, and then have plenty of hided places for the placos and stuff. You'd probably be okay. I'm not 100% sure on the placos. I'm thinking the platies are going to be fine if you do that. So Miley, how are the froggies? Well, they're doing actually really well. I've heard the male calling a lot lately. I'm thinking of having them breed again. I haven't been consistently topping up their breeding container with water, so I haven't seen any tadpoles. But maybe I need to do that, more consistently so I can get babies. But here's a cool thing. Today, I don't know if any of you know this. I think I may have mentioned this before, but when I had the 3 tadpoles from these dart frogs and raised those 3 tadpoles, a local subscriber decided to buy them, came and bought the trio. And today I got a picture of the trio and the vivarium, and it's doing really well. The vivarium is doing really well, and the trio is doing really well. They're all doing really well. And so that was exciting. I was glad to see that. Casey is asking about the literature as far as isopods go. Well, Oren's got a couple of books out. Let's see. I've got an older book, an ebook out on isopods, and it is kind of intended for children as the main audience, but adults have read it and reviewed it and said it's good for them too. It's a little outdated. I'm writing a new edition of it right now, actually, to include some of the explosion of the new hobby isopods and things like that. But yeah, I mean, the information's still valid. It's just not as up to date as it might be in terms of a lot of species and stuff. And I've learned a few things since I wrote it that I want to add to the new version. But there's that's on, mine is available on Amazon, and so are Oren's. So if you look up Oren McGonagall and isopods, you can he's got a couple of good books out. I mean, his books are, he's the invertebrate guy. basically, for hobby invertebrates as far as books go. And Kenneth, that's a good idea. We could do a feeding montage. Supreme Gecko, hey, Wally's in the house. Nice to have you here as always. And Crystal says, meet all your pet video, which I could do. I haven't done one since the 15,000 subscribers, so a lot of you are new, and even those of you who are not will see some new creatures in there, so I could do that. And let's see, I'm catching up here. All right, so Primetime Gecko. We have 4 crested geckos. We have our original Tiki. We have Jake, and he's a Dalmatian that I bought a number of years ago. And then we have the 2 babies, Captain Squinty and Meek, which are the parthenogenic babies. So, okay, Casey, are multis as aggressive as brevis? No, they're not. Brevis tend to be, you know, you want to pair and then they're fry, and as soon as the fry start getting old enough, you got to take them out. Okay. But you don't have to worry about that with multis so much. You can do a colony of multis that, you know, with multiple adults and whatnot in the tank, so they're not as aggressive as brevis. And multis can manage with some tank mates. I'm not sure how brevis do with other species tank mates, but in terms of just, you can't have a huge colony of brevis unless you have a huge tank. So yeah, colony breeders, multis are the best shell dealers for a colony if you just want a whole bunch of the same species together in a small space or a big space. And Jeremy, wow, you're talented if you can type while you're riding your bike. And Miraculous Illustrator, a tour of every vivarium and aquarium you have. See, that would be fun. I got to do something like that. And Supreme Gecko says, best isopod info on the net right now. It's my isopod videos. Well, I appreciate that. And if that is true, I'm not sure if it is true or not, but I'm glad that you think so, and I'm glad that I'm providing some quality information. So that makes me happy. So Asylum, Instagram ETA. You know, I probably should. I haven't yet. I probably should do Instagram. I know that's, you know, a lot of people are doing that these days. Even my mom says, hey, do you have Instagram? You should do that with your channel. Because she's pretty supportive of the channel. She's always sending me, you know, screenshots. Look how many subscribers you have. You just got to 19,000 or whatever. So, and she may be watching the live stream right now. She often watches the live stream, which I appreciate. So does my dad. They're both really supportive of the channel. So they've mentioned about the Instagram, so maybe I should do it. So, and thank you, Best in Natural Healing. Oh, 20,000 subs, getting an Orchid Mantis. That's not a bad idea. My wife likes Orchid Mantis. She wants an Orchid Mantis. And this is something I've understood. If your spouse wants something that you want, just get it. I mean, what's stopping you? That's a good idea, right? I like that. And Miley, checked your website. Oh, shipping across to Canada. So far, I can't ship to Canada, which is sad. So far, I cannot. I need to find that out. I need to figure out if there's a way I can actually do it. But it's usually pretty tricky to do across to Canada. So I could look into it a little more though. But currently, I don't ship. I need to figure out how the import permits and export permits and all that stuff all work. And, oh, Jays, yes, I could see how you wouldn't do that. And Jay, oh, about the multis. Oh, yeah, in a 10-gallon. You can do multis as a 10-gallon. Start out with maybe 2 males and 4 females or so, somewhere around there. You could even do 1 male and 4 females or whatever. You got a couple of options there. You could do multis in a 10-gallon. I put mine in a 29 just because they'll use all the space you can give them. Oh, running low on batteries, so I'm going to have to plug in here. Just a second, folks. And, ooh, moving snake. Okay. Oh, thank you, Wally. I love the like spike. That's a great idea. Let's see if we can do it. We're at 17 now. Sometimes mine doesn't update. Oh, we're at 18. It's climbing. 19. I love the like spike idea, Wally. Thank you. And let's see. According to Bush, okay, that's a good point. Started on Instagram, is now doing YouTube, so Instagram's a good way to do simple posts. I like that. Oh, like spike got up to 20. And thanks to those who did that. I always appreciate that. Oh, we're up to 22. Nice. This definitely qualifies as a like spike now. So is the microphone making noise again? Just wondering. Oh, the snake is like wrapped around the microphone. That's fun. Not sure what to do about that. Okay. Oh, you know what? I have only how many minutes now do I have? Oh, yeah, I only have a couple of minutes. Got to go in just a minute. So, so it is buzzing a little bit, but at least it isn't as bad. Good. Glad to hear that. I wouldn't plug it in, but I have to charge it because it is dying, but we only have a minute or so left. So if you have anything you would like to say in the next minute or so, any questions or anything, let me know, and I'll try to keep the snake from dancing on the microphone. He loves it. Okay, primetime gecko. I have various sizes for the cresties. My favorite one is a 24, no, it's an 18 by 18 by 24 Exoterra vivarium. I say that's a great size for cresties. They love it. And I do have some in smaller enclosures as well. Of course, the smallest is still a tiny little gecko, and so he is only in a 2.5 gallon aquarium, which I would not recommend for an adult, obviously. Everybody else is in bigger ones. But yeah, just when they're little, they need to be in smaller containers, of course. It makes it easier for them to find their food and stuff like that. And, ooh, Heather Jensen's going to get it. I love the Pac-Man frog name, Flat Stanley. That's awesome. And Jay, I've been selling the multis, I think, for $5 each. I don't have a ton available right now, but I do have a couple of fry that are maturing right now. If I get another batch of fry, I will probably start selling out from those. Because I have something like 22 multis in there right now. I want to get, that's not a bad number, but I want to keep at least that many in there. But if the next batch of fry, if I get like half a dozen fry or something, I'll probably sell those out. And would you plan to get a pet chicken? Actually, we have 9 chickens in the backyard. And they're kind of pets. I mean, they all have names and whatnot, and they come running when we call them. So I think that qualifies. The fact that we eat their eggs and we don't eat them, I think that also helps. We don't eat any of our chickens, so yeah, I would say they're pets. And I really like watching chickens. 3 in the morning, yeah, you probably do need to go to bed, and I probably need to go because I've got a customer coming over in just a minute. So I've got to go get ready for that. So thank you everybody for joining the live stream. Thanks Wally for the like spike, and I am excited for some videos that are coming up in the near future, so keep your eyes on this, watch the space. And Jay, I wouldn't put them in with pea puffers. Definitely wouldn't. Maybe other people have had success with it, but pea puffers can get mean and multis get mean probably wouldn't work. That's my 2 cents. And thank you, Wally, and everybody else. Thanks for all the likes.